What's up, ladies and gentlemen? NoZoupForYou here, and we've had some interesting news coming out of the World of Warships development blog. Now, this information was released on July the 19th, so it's been out there for a while, and you might be aware of some of this information. If you're not, well, here's your news. Now, this is just kind of a continuation of baffling decisions that Wargaming is making concerning some of their ships, because many of these changes just fly directly in the face of what these ships actually need. I won't say it's disheartening, because these ships are still in the test phase, but it's not a good direction, and I fear for many of these ships. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through some of these changes, and I'm going to tell you what they are and what I think about them, and why I do or don't think these should happen. And then I'm going to go into some good stuff that Wargaming is introducing, because it's not all bad right now. There's been some other news that I am quite happy with, and it shows that Wargaming is listening and we're moving in the right direction. So, first, we're going to start with changes to the European destroyer Friesland, which is a tier 9, and I've already previewed it, and I really enjoy this destroyer. Now, it's getting a little bit of a nerf, and that's okay with me. It's also getting some buffs. Turrets can now rotate 360 degrees, turret firing angles have been increased, bow turret by 1 degree, stern turret by 5 degrees to both sides. That is a buff right there, and I think that will help this ship overall as far as a gunboat. It already has the highest damage per minute when factoring in its guns at tier 9. Now, of course, it doesn't have torpedoes, so it loses some offensive capability right there. This, I think, helps overall in that one-on-one type of fight with other destroyers, so I have no problem with this. This is a good move right here. A damage bonus granted by defensive fire consumable has been lowered from 200% to 100%. This is a nerf, and I agree with this nerf. I'm kind of on the same boat with this one, because the AA on this destroyer is extremely strong. You can melt planes thrown at you from even tier 10 ships with this AA fire, so really the destroyer, in my opinion, was operating better as an AA platform than most cruisers were, and that's a problem right there. This won't affect the ship too much overall, so I'm not upset about it. I think overall Friesland will be in a good spot after this, so good on Wargaming for these changes. Now we start getting into the baffling stuff. German cruiser Siegfried, tier 9, and this is one of those super heavies, or heavy cruiser, or whatever else you want to call them. I've already released a preview on this ship, and it really wasn't that favorable. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but the ship has issues right now. It's got significant issues with survivability, it's got issues with its guns, its torps, everything. So here are the changes. The number of charges for the repair party consumable have been lowered from 3 to 2. Also, torpedo range lowered from 8 to 6 kilometers. Now, according to Wargaming, the parameters of the repair party consumables were aligned with the standard values for cruisers, and torpedo range was aligned with the values of high-tier German cruisers and battleships. First and foremost, this ship gets pegged from every single corner, which way and up. I don't want to fire torpedoes from 8 kilometers. Now they've nerfed it down to 6 kilometers. I guarantee you I'm not going to be using them. If you get 6 kilometers from a tier 10 battleship, you're not going to make it close enough to fire these torpedoes. If anything, I thought they would increase the torpedo range. So you can just forget about using torpedoes in this ship, with the exception of all the most dire circumstances where you turn a corner and just panic fire. Also, the repair party consumable being lowered from 3 to 2 is just baffling as well. This ship needs help to its survivability. Bigly. It's got issues with its survivability. As I said, it gets pegged easily, and come on, Wargaming. Siegfried needs help. It needs help a lot, and these changes are going in the wrong direction. Moving on to the Japanese destroyer Yudachi. Poi, torpedo tube reload time increased from 91 seconds to 100 seconds. They said after the addition of the torpedo reload booster consumable, the total torpedo damage dealt by the destroyer was too great. Now, I have reservations about this. And yes, it's great that Yudachi now has torpedo reload booster, but this ship is archaic. It's from a different time period in World of Warships. It's from a time where Japanese torpedo boats reigned supreme. We're not there anymore. We have long surpassed that. And while the damage might be good, these torpedoes aren't great. They give enemy ships an extreme amount of time to react because they can be spotted several kilometers out. So all but the most inattentive battleships can avoid these torpedoes. The only way you're going to get hit is if you're absolutely not paying attention or this ship pops out from 3 kilometers and surprise! That's about it. I guess you could use torpedo spam and just flood channels with a bunch of torpedoes that battleships don't feel like missing. I mean, we've all taken one on the chin just because we don't feel like getting out of the way, but this is another nerf to a ship that really needs a lot of buffs to make it better. Moving on to the Destroyer Summers at tier 10, and this is a ship that I absolutely love. I love Summers. Main caliber guns reload time increased from 5 to 6 seconds. The efficiency of the main caliber guns was too great for the torpedo-focused destroyer. Well, I guess that's fine. I mean, I didn't play it as a gunboat, really. I just slung torps in it. So it's not going to affect that ship that much. So I really don't have an issue with that. Moving on to the Ark Royal at tier 6. And in my preview of this ship, I said it was just kind of boring. Needed a lot of work. So Wargaming has done some changes to this. And torpedo bomber squadron size increased from 6 to 9 planes. I actually suggested that, and I'm happy that they've done that. Number of torpedo bombers on deck increased from 9 to 14. That is also good, having more torpedo bombers at your disposal. Torpedo bombers restoration time decreased from 81 to 59 seconds. That's good as well. Armor penetration of HE bombs increased from 18 to 19 millimeters. Good as well because they did no damage whatsoever. Number of bombs on the plane is lowered from 12 to 8. That's fine. I mean, you did drop a lot of them, and it was hard on destroyers because they really pretty much couldn't escape them. All of these buffs are great, except for the fact it doesn't address the biggest problem with this ship. Those fairy swordfish are slow. They're lethargic. They're slower than molasses, and they're not fun to fly. I suggested giving the option to either use those for people that want to fly a historic plane that belong to that aircraft carrier, or have the ability to switch out to the Blackburn Skua, a plane that also traditionally served on aircraft carriers early in the war. And players that don't want to deal with 100-knot planes can easily switch to those and use those instead. That would be my fix. As it stands, Ark Royal is just not really that fun to play. And I guess for the most part, tier 6 aircraft carriers in general aren't. They are suffering right now, especially when they're up-tiered in tier 8 battles. So really, these buffs are good, but I don't think they're going to help quite that much. Some minor notes on the French cruiser Bayard. Detectability range by air is increased from 6.36 to 7.16. It's not really going to affect things that much. Bayard's a fun cruiser. And outside of that, a lot of the news was regarding French destroyers, which I really haven't had time to play yet. There's just been so many other premium ships for review, and French destroyers right now just are kind of at the bottom of my pile as far as things I really care about. So I'm gonna ignore the developer notes on the French destroyers. I'll get to them one day, but right now it's not that important to me. You don't have to spend any money on these like you do for the other ships. So it's more important to know about the changes for premium ships that you're either going to have to use XP or coal or anything else on. So again, a lot of these changes were just baffling in my opinion, especially to the Siegfried and the Yudachi. I mean, Siegfried is in a bad spot right now. Ark Royal's not in a great spot. I don't know. So let's move on to some good news, though. Some things that Wargaming is doing that people are going to enjoy or at least be happy about, and that's regarding camouflage. First and foremost, Pan-Asia is slowly getting its own line, though it's kind of a hodgepodge right now. At Tier 5, you've got the Viribus Unitas. Then at Tier 7, you've got Wuskovica, and we're getting the Friesland at Tier 9. So, for those of you that are Pan-European fans, we're slowly getting an actual tree here, and hopefully we'll see more ships in the future. Wargaming has also stated that there's autopilot tweaks coming. That's nice. It's only 5 years into the game, so kind of thankful for that. Hopefully they fix the aircraft carriers, because the autopilot on the aircraft carriers is abysmal right now, and I'm certain I'm not the only one who's been stuck in never-ending circles because autopilot can't figure out where to direct your ship, even though you clearly tell it where to go. So kudos to that. Way to go, Wargaming. That's a nice little creature comfort right there. Also, we've got some new permanent camouflages for Furious, Le Galissonier, and Le Terrible, also Fuso as well. And these kind of look like dazzle camouflage. I mean, kind of makes the ship look like a package of fruit stripe gum. But that's okay. The camouflage looks cool. I don't have an issue with it. And some camouflage is better than no camouflage because, in my opinion, camouflage is one of those things that distinguishes your ship. And there's so much camouflage out there. I mean, there's historical camouflage you can pull from for these ships that probably need to be on these ships. But it is what it is, and at least we're getting something right now. And again, something is better than nothing. Lastly, we're also getting some unique camouflages for Grashfei, Warspite, and Shinonome, the Shinedown ship. Having pronunciation issues today. And these actually look pretty cool as well. The Warspite is very, let's say, British. It's fitting for the Warspite, and I sense a lot of Brits in the UK will like this camouflage. You've got the 3 red griffins on the front and part of the jack on the back. And then for the Grashfei, it's a very Germanic look. You've got the eagle on the front, and blacks and reds and whites, so that's cool as well. And then the Shinonome, it's kind of got a rising sun look to it. Kind of harkens back to that flag. You've got some striping that's red and black and white, so I think these will appeal to a lot of players as well. And again, it's more camouflage. Everybody likes camouflage. We like throwing it on our ships, and these, of course, give the general premium camouflage attributes. At 100% XP, a little boost to credits at 35%. So, anyhow, that's your news as of late for World of Warships. Let me know what you think about the changes and what you're hoping to see in the future. Are you happy about new camouflage coming out? Do you want to purchase some new camouflage for these ships? Or were you hoping for some different kind of camouflages for different ships? Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all later. Hope you're doing wonderful. Zoop out.